Every price you have ever paid was designed by someone who understood your psychology better than you did at that moment. Not the cost of making the product, not a fair market calculation. A number engineered specifically to extract the maximum amount from you while leaving you feeling like you made a reasonable decision. Sometimes a good decision, occasionally even a smart one. The pricing strategies used by retailers, restaurants, subscription services, airlines, software companies, and luxury brands are not accidents. They are the applied output of decades of behavioral economics research that has identified, with extraordinary precision, the specific cognitive patterns that cause human beings to overpay, to buy things they did not intend to buy, and to feel satisfied about both. Understanding these strategies does not make you immune to them. The research is clear that knowing about cognitive biases does not fully eliminate their effect, but it creates enough friction, enough conscious awareness between the impulse and the action to recover significant amounts of money across your lifetime. Here is how pricing psychology actually works. And here is exactly where it is being used against you right now. Every negotiation, every purchase decision, every price evaluation you make is contaminated by the first number you see. This is called anchoring, and it is one of the most studied and most reliable findings in all of behavioral economics. When you encounter a price, any price, even a completely arbitrary one, your brain uses it as a reference point for everything that follows. Higher anchors make subsequent prices feel cheaper. Lower anchors make subsequent prices feel more expensive. The anchor does not have to be reasonable. It does not have to be related to actual value. It just has to be seen first. Luxury car dealerships use this constantly. The first car they show you is almost never the one they expect you to buy. It is the most expensive one on the lot, priced at a level designed to make everything else feel like a bargain by comparison. The $60,000 car feels reasonable after you've been shown the $120,000 one. Your reference point has been set. Your subsequent evaluation happens relative to the anchor, not relative to the actual value of what you are considering. Restaurant menus are anchoring machines. The most expensive item on the menu is almost never the restaurant's biggest seller. It is the anchor placed deliberately to make the second and third most expensive items feel like the rational middle choice. The wine list is constructed on the same principle. The most expensive bottle exists primarily to make the second most expensive bottle feel like restraint. Online retailers anchor constantly through crossed-out original prices. When you see a product listed at $200 with a line through it and $69 as the current price, your brain immediately registers the $69 price as a bargain. Not because $69 is objectively good value for product, but because the anchor of $200 has made it feel that way. The original price may have been arbitrary. It may have been set specifically to create this effect. The sale may be permanent. None of that matters to the part of your brain processing the comparison. The defense against anchoring is deliberate. Before evaluating any price, ask what this item is worth to you independent of any number you have already seen. What would you pay for this if you encountered it with no listed price and no reference point? That number, your independent valuation, is the only honest reference point available to you. Everything else is manipulation. The price is $99, not $100. You know this is a psychological trick. Everyone knows this is a psychological trick. It has been known and written about for decades, and it still works on you, on essentially everyone, because knowing about a cognitive shortcut does not disable the shortcut. The research on charm pricing, prices ending in 9, 99, or 95, shows consistent, measurable uplift in purchase rates compared to round numbers, even when consumers are explicitly aware of the strategy. The effect persists because it operates at the level of automatic cognition rather than deliberate reasoning. Your brain reads $99 and categorizes it as $90 range before the deliberate reasoning has time to correct the error. This matters at the individual transaction level. It matters enormously at the lifetime spending level. Every time charm pricing triggers a purchase you would not have made at the round number, and research suggests this happens regularly, you are paying the psychological tax on a trick you already understand. The practical counter is rounding up mentally before evaluating any price. The moment you see $99, consciously round it to $100 before deciding whether to buy. The moment you see $495, Think 500. This simple, deliberate act closes the gap between what your automatic cognition registers and what the price actually is. You walk into a cinema and see 3 popcorn sizes. Small for $4, medium for $6.50, large for $7. Without the medium option, you might reasonably buy the small. The large feels like a lot of popcorn. The small is sufficient. With the medium option, the large suddenly looks like extraordinary value. 50 cents more than the medium for significantly more popcorn. The medium exists specifically to make the large look rational. The cinema does not particularly want to sell you the medium. The medium is the decoy, an option engineered to make one of the other options appear dominant by comparison. This is called the decoy effect, and it is one of the most powerful pricing mechanisms in commercial use. Once you understand it, you see it everywhere. Software subscription tiers. The middle tier is almost always the decoy, positioned to make the premium tier feel like obvious value by being only marginally more expensive for significantly more features. The company's goal is premium tier conversion. The middle tier is the tool that achieves it. Cable and streaming packages. The basic package lacks key features. The premium package has everything. The standard package, the decoy, is priced close enough to premium that the jump feels small and the features gap feels large. Hotel room categories. Airline seat classes. Gym membership levels. The pattern is identical across industries because the psychology is identical across human beings. The defense is recognizing the architecture before you evaluate the options. When you see 3 tiers or 3 sizes or 3 packages, your first question should not be which one is best value. It should be which one of these exists specifically to make another one look better. Identifying the decoy removes its power over comparison. Individually, you would not buy each of these things, but together, as a bundle, at a price that represents a discount from the combined individual prices. Suddenly the purchase makes sense. You are getting more for less. The math is favorable. The deal is clear, except that the math is only favorable compared to a comparison the seller has constructed. The individual prices, the ones that make the bundle look like a discount, may be inflated specifically to create the appearance of bundling value. The things you would not buy individually represent value you did not want at any price, but are now paying for because they arrived wrapped around one thing you actually needed. Cable companies built entire business models on this. You wanted 5 channels. You received 200. You paid for 200 because that was the only way to access the 5. The bundle created value for the company, guaranteed revenue from content you would never consume, while creating the illusion of value for you through per-channel math. Software suites, holiday packages, bank account features, gym membership add-ons. The bundling principle is everywhere, and it consistently extracts payment for unwanted components by attaching them to wanted ones. Before purchasing any bundle, do the deliberate exercise of pricing only the components you would actually use. Calculate what those components would cost individually from alternative sources. Then compare that number, not the inflated individual prices the seller shows you, to the bundle price. The genuine discount may be significantly smaller than presented, or may not exist at all when measured against the real alternative cost. The most profitable pricing innovation of the last 2 decades is not a new product or a new market. It is a payment structure. The subscription model works financially for companies for one primary reason. Humans are dramatically worse at tracking recurring small payments than one-time large payments. A $120 annual cost registered as a single transaction feels more significant than $10 per month registered as 12 separate small transactions, even though they are identical amounts. The psychology of small recurring charges is almost perfectly calibrated to escape the mental accounting that would cause you to evaluate whether the purchase is worth it. The subscription model also exploits inertia. Canceling requires an action. Continuing requires no action. And human beings are powerfully biased toward an action. Subscriptions therefore persist long past the point at which the service provides genuine value, sustained not by satisfaction, but by the friction of cancellation and the invisibility of the cost. Audit every subscription you currently hold, not just the ones you remember. Every single recurring charge appearing in your bank or card statements. Research consistently shows that people significantly underestimate how many subscriptions they hold and significantly underestimate the combined monthly cost. The average person in developed markets holds more subscriptions than they believe they do and pays more in total than they would consciously choose to pay if presented with a full annual sum at once. For each subscription, ask one question. If this service charged the full annual cost as a single payment today, would you pay it? If the answer is no, the subscription should be canceled regardless of how small the monthly charge feels. Only 3 left in stock. Sale ends in 4 hours. Limited time offer. 12 people are looking at this right now. These signals trigger one of the oldest survival mechanisms in the human brain. Scarcity historically indicated genuine threat. Limited resources meant competition and potential loss. The emotional response to scarcity is rapid, powerful, and largely immune to rational override in the moment. Online retailers, ticketing platforms, and booking sites deploy manufactured scarcity and artificial urgency as standard practice. The countdown timer running on the checkout page is not counting down to anything real. The stock level showing 2 remaining is not always an accurate inventory figure. The number of people supposedly viewing the same item is not verifiable and is frequently either exaggerated or entirely fabricated. The tell is consistency. Real scarcity resolves. The item goes out of stock, the sale ends, the price rises. Manufactured scarcity resets. The countdown restarts. The stock replenishes. The offer extends. If a sale that was ending in 4 hours is still running in the same form 2 days later, the urgency was manufactured. If a stock level that showed 2 remaining is still showing 2 remaining 3 visits later, the scarcity was engineered. The defense is a simple rule. Never make a significant purchase under time pressure you did not create yourself. If you would not have been shopping for this item today without the urgency signal should be treated as a red flag rather than a reason to act. Genuine good deals exist without manufactured deadlines. Patient purchasing almost always produces better outcomes than pressured purchasing. None of these pricing strategies extracts catastrophic amounts in any single transaction. That is precisely why they are so effective over a lifetime. A few extra dollars from anchoring here. A purchase triggered by a decoy there. A bundle that includes 3 things you never use. 7 subscriptions you forgot you held. For urgency-driven purchases per year that did not survive 48 hours of reflection. Add those up across a year, and the number is significant. Multiply that number by a working lifetime and invest it at historical market returns, and the number becomes genuinely life-altering. The goal is not paranoia about every purchase. The goal is deliberate awareness, the habit of recognizing the psychological mechanism being deployed before the transaction and making a conscious choice rather than an engineered one. Because the difference between a conscious choice and an engineered one is not usually the product or the price. It is who is actually making the decision. Make sure it is you.